Right. Let's get it 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 right. You already know what it is, man. It's your boy Dilla T. And this is No Filters. Always appreciate you hitting that like button for me. Subscribing to the channel so you don't miss an episode and sharing this with the world. And of course, family, when you come in, get comfortable. Get you something to eat. Get you something to drink. Get you something to smoke if that's what you do. Cause you see the title, fam. Hey. Let's get into this here.
Kendrick Lamar is one of the most successful, talented, and skilled hip-hop artists of all time. And he has one of the best bodies of work in hip-hop history as well. And I even personally place his album down as a top 5 hip-hop album conceptually of all time. And now he holds the record for most awarded Grammys by a rapper in history. And while many hip-hop fans are extremely proud of this, mostly because of what Kendrick Lamar claims to represent as a socially aware, conscious rapper, the truth as to how and why Kendrick Lamar has been able to win so many Grammys doesn't boil down to just talent or hard work. I am under the belief that Kendrick Lamar is not only an industry plant or an industry puppet, but has been from the beginning of his career. This will be a hard pill for many people to swallow because they have this prototype image of what they believe a quote-unquote industry plant looks and sounds like. But the truth is they come in different forms. And so, yes, that also includes the biggest artists in the game. We just discussed Sabrina Carpenter, who started as a Nickelodeon kid. Drake is no different, as he started as an actor in Degrassi. Ironically, we even just discussed an artist by the name of Doechii, who was actually signed to Kendrick Lamar's former label, Top Dog Entertainment, or TDE. She is one of the most obvious industry plants for countless reasons, whom I expect was also chosen well before she quote-unquote blew up. And ironically, she came into the game and almost immediately won a Grammy, despite barely anyone actually knowing her music. That brings us to Kendrick Lamar. Welcome back to another episode of Didi Got a Podcast. And of course, I'm your host, Didi. Back with another episode. I appreciate you all for tuning in. As always, link is in the description to the merch. Please check out the merch. We've had 7 to 10 new designs. I think you all will really like and appreciate them. Hit the like button on your way in. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Kendrick Lamar. There's a lot of things here I'm going to connect as it pertains to Kendrick Lamar because there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of things that's going on. And I don't believe I've seen anybody else connect these things, right? So first and foremost, Kendrick Lamar now holds the record for the most amount of Grammys by a rapper. And that number is 27. Now, what's interesting about this is that the person that he usurped or the person that he passed that formerly held that record was none other than Jay-Z. And one of the 5 Grammys that Kendrick Lamar won a couple of days ago also just happened to beat out another rapper who actually performed at the Grammys, and that was actually a group called the Clipse. But one of the members of the Clipse is, of course, none other than Pusha T. Now, why is this important? Because do you all believe it's a coincidence that both Pusha T and Jay-Z, 2 people that Kendrick Lamar just beat out by winning these Grammys earlier this week, these are 2 individuals that was just named together in the Epstein files. And I said in my live that I did 2 or 3 days ago or so that I thought that was a very odd combination. Even though Pusha T has done business with Roc Nation, I still found that to be a bit weird. Pusha T, Jay-Z are just not 2 names you typically hear together. Not to mention Nicki Minaj just a few days ago tweeted this. Your favorite artist has been practicing rituals in a satanic cult where they take babies from other countries and mutilate and unalive them as a form of a blood sacrifice to their God. You see, when your master is Satan, you must constantly shed blood. However, the jig is up. As they do their ritual tonight, God Almighty will reveal himself to them. The ritual will backfire on them. God will not be mocked. Blessed is the mighty name of Jesus Christ. Every tongue that rises up against me in judgment shall be condemned and put to shame. Watch. Now, while I do believe that these tweets are obviously very explosive, if you don't know, Nicki Minaj has been beefing with Jay-Z for easily the past year. I do believe that she has other motives as to what's behind her putting these tweets out. Nonetheless, she still said the quiet part out loud about the people at the Grammys and about what she alleges about Jay-Z. And now here we have Kendrick Lamar winning 5 Grammys. Winning 5 Grammys, by the way, for an album, I think was not worthy of a Grammy. That's just my personal opinion. I think it was a decent album, but I think it was an album made for the West Coast. Unless you're just a delusional fan of Kendrick's music, I don't think you're being objective by stating that that album is probably his light work. It's one of the least compelling albums he's ever released, in my opinion. Yes, there were some catchy songs on the album, but the dude won 5 Grammys because of it, but I digress. What I also found interesting about this is that Pusha T, as we know, Kendrick Lamar, Drake were involved in a beef. But what's also interesting about this is that Pusha T was also somebody that exposed the fact that, number one, Drake was hiding the kid, but was also buying into the fact that Drake does not write his own music. So 2 people that's exposed Drake just so happened to be involved in the Grammys, and they played a pretty significant role at the Grammys. I thought that was very interesting. I also want to ask you all, do you believe it's a coincidence that another person that won a Grammy a couple of days ago was none other than Bad Bunny? You know, Bad Bunny, the same person that I've exposed. I also believe Bad Bunny is an industry plant, and I believe I've done a great job of exposing it in previous videos. Well, what's something that Bad Bunny and Kendrick Lamar have in common? They actually have quite a few things in common, but the most relevant thing they have in common here is that Kendrick Lamar performed at the Super Bowl last year, and sure enough, Bad Bunny, who won a Grammy a couple of days ago, will be performing at the Super Bowl this year. This is a man who is an open cultist. I mean, it's all over his social media. He's an open pansexual, and I also believe that he's a Freemason as well. But go and check that video out when you get a chance. I digress. Now, again, I'm going to connect a lot of dots in this video because J. Cole is actually releasing an album, his long-anticipated album, The Fall Off, in 2 days. And a lot of people are anticipating how this album is going to perform. But that's actually going to be relevant to this video as well. So again, just stick with me. Because part of the reason I mentioned J. Cole is because there's the J. Cole versus Drake versus Kendrick feud, beef, competition, rivalry, whatever you want to call it, that's happening in hip hop right now. So just so people understand that I'm not picking sides here, I'm just calling it objectively as I see it with each of these artists. I'm going to call out each one of them in this video in their own unique way. But I want to start with Kendrick because Kendrick Lamar, I'm going to allow you all to hear him out of his own words. Don't take my word for the fact that he's an industry plant. I want you all to listen to what he's told us himself in his music, and I'll let you decide for yourself how you feel about it. Let's start with the song For Sale. So here it is here. For Sale interlude on his album To Pimp a Butterfly, what many people call arguably his best work back in 2015. Let's go and check out this song. Verse 2, it says here, you said to me, you said your name was Lucy. Lucy is short for Lucifer. I said, where's Ricardo? You said, oh no, not the show. Then you spit a little rap to me like this. When you turned 26, I was like, oh shoot. You said to me, remember what you said too? You said, my name is Lucy, Kendrick. You introduced me, Kendrick. Usually I don't do this, but I see you and me, Kendrick. Lucy gives you no worries. Lucy got a million stories about these rappers that I came after when they was boring. Lucy gonna fill your pockets. Lucy gonna move your mama out of Compton inside the gigantic mansion like I promised. Lucy just wants your trust and loyalty. Avoiding me, it's not so easy. I'm at these functions accordingly. Kendrick, Lucy don't slack a minute. Lucy work harder. Lucy gonna call you even when Lucy know you love your father. I'm Lucy. I loosely heard prayers on your first album. Truly, Lucy don't mind. Cause at the end of the day, you'll pursue me. Lucy go get it. Lucy not timid. Lucy up front. Lucy got paperwork on top of paperwork. I want you to know that Lucy got you. All your life, I watched you, and now you all grown up to sign this contract, if that's possible. In this verse, it's pretty clear that Kendrick Lamar is speaking about some sort of metaphorical or maybe literal, figurative conversation that he had with quote-unquote Lucy. And now Lucy was offering all of these things. At no point in this verse does Kendrick make it clear that he turned down these things. In fact, this verse talks about what Lucy was offering to him, and as we've watched Kendrick Lamar's career, it appears to me that he accepted the offer. As it even says here, all your life I watched you, and now you all grown up to sign this contract, if that's possible. This song also reminds me of the record by DMX. On one of his albums, he has a record, Eminem as well. It seems that all these people have records where they're talking about selling their soul. And part of the way that they get people with these things is that many people want to give them the benefit of the doubt. They don't believe that they'll just so openly talk and admit these things in the records, but they don't understand that this is part of the the deal. They have to admit these things. They have to tell people what they had to do to blow up in the industry. And if you don't believe this by Kendrick, by the end of this video, with all the things I'm about to show you, I don't know what to tell you. Or we can go to the record American Dream by Jeezy featuring J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar. You know, one of the rare times J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar are on a song together, and it always seems that one of them decides to sing, mostly Kendrick Lamar, when they get on the record together, when they know most people want to hear both of them rap. But let's go to Kendrick Lamar's verse, because J. Cole's verse is, if there was something in here to point out about him, I would say it. But it's pretty fair, like it's pretty straightforward what he's talking about. He's talking about the drugs that are in our communities. He's talking about the American dream, the hopes of becoming rich, starting a family, et cetera, et cetera. But let's go to Kendrick's verse. So at the very, he said, yeah, these streets made for balling, 10 toes. And then like, if you go all the way to the bottom, he says, I got a feast, I got to relight what is known to the traveling man. So he says, look, I got to eat, I got to make money with, I got to feast, I got to relight on what is known to the traveling man. Set his own, got my Bible and my rifle in my hand. Oh yeah. So the line that stands out the most to me is this one here. I got to feast, I got to rely what is known to the traveling man. So let's click on this and see how they explain this verse. It says a traveling man is a term used to identify those who have studied and affiliated with the teachings of masonry. It's customary to ask someone who you suspect to be a mason, are you a traveling man? Here, Kendrick only has what he has learned and uncovered about the world to rely upon, religion versus science and their constant juxtaposition. What more evidence do you need than this? In this song, Kendrick Lamar just literally told us that he's a Freemason. He can only rely on what he's been taught, what he knows. But for some of you all out there, you don't think that's enough. What's the big deal? He's a Mason. You must be new to this channel. Let's keep going. Because Kendrick Lamar also believes that he's God. He doesn't believe that he's God of rap. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm sure he believes that as well. I'm talking about he says that he is God. Let's go once again to his own lyrics. So this lyric here is actually wrong. He doesn't say pray to the Omega. He actually says I am the Omega. As a matter of fact, let's go and find the correct lyric. So it says here, I am the Omega. PG Lane, Rolling Gang, SIE, don't you address me unless it's with 4 letters. I thought you known better. So let's move down here. He doesn't stop it there. He says it again. I am the Omega. PG Lane, Rolling Gang, SIE, don't you address me unless it's with 4 letters. He also calls himself a prophet. I'm not a trending topic, I'm a prophet. I answer to Metatron and Gabrielle. So we need to ask ourselves, who is Metatron? He says, I answer to Metatron and Gabrielle. So it says here, Metatron. Metatron, the greatest of angels in Jewish myths and legends. Metatron is not a figure of the Hebrew Bible, but his name appears briefly in several passages of the Talmud. His legends are predominantly found in mystical, Kabbalistic texts. He is variously identified as the prince or angel of the presence, as Michael the archangel, or as Enoch after his bodily ascent into heaven. He is commonly described as a celestial scribe recording the sins and merits of men, as a guardian of heavenly secrets, as God's mediator with men, as the lesser Yahweh, as the archetype of man, and as one whose name is like that of his master. Confirms that Kendrick Lamar is a Freemason. So even though the text misread it, it was supposed to say Gabrielle. So let's look at who Gabrielle is, since this is the other entity that he answers to. In Judaism, Christianity, Islam, and other Abrahamic religions, Gabriel is an archangel with the power to announce God's will to humankind as the messenger of God. He is mentioned in the Hebrew Bible, the New Testament, and the Quran. So the question is, why would Kendrick Lamar be answering to Metatron and Gabrielle and not to God himself? Well, I think we know why. Because Kendrick Lamar is an occultist, and we're about to prove that. Because in one of his videos, he literally presents himself as a fallen angel, which is no different from Bad Bunny, Billie Eilish, and the list goes on. Many people have done this before. He's shown the checkerboard pattern imagery in his videos, and even the song Reincarnated, which we didn't speak about that song in itself deserves its own video, because he literally admits to misleading the masses with his forbidding knowledge and deceptive imagery. So he literally tells us in that song that the way that in which he portrays himself, that being a quote-unquote conscious rapper, is deceptive, and that he has forbidden knowledge that has led to him misleading the masses. He said this in his song, and he won a Grammy for this album. What should that tell you? Not to mention, Kendrick Lamar has so many different performances where, I shouldn't say so many, but he has a couple of performances that are just straight up demonic. He has one performance where his eyes are completely blacked out. So regardless of whatever he's talking about, why would you want to present yourself as a demon? Why would you want to present yourself as something that's possessed, right? That's almost like double speaking, misleading people once again. So for example, if you were to attack a person, but while you're attacking them, you're saying nice things to them, it would be very confusing. It's confusion, which once again is a Freemasonic tactic. Why would you want to present yourself this way? He has another performance where I've spoken about this many times before. He has the crown of thorns on his head, which is iced out crown of thorns. It's blasphemous, it's wrong, it's disrespectful. And it's also interesting because I've spoken about this before. You will notice, we've already played the clip many times on this channel, how Kanye West and other artists have admitted that in contracts in the music industry, they state that you are not allowed to say the name Jesus Christ in your music.
God is better than the devil. The devil took all the producers, the musicians, the designers, moved us all out to Hollywood, moved us all out to New York, chasing gold statues. Literally signing a contract and selling our souls. They got contracts out there that say, you can't say Jesus. When we was working on this album, people used to be coming over the studio just to say Jesus as loud as they wanted to. You can say Jesus in your studio.
Double tap that screen, hit that like button right now. We here to save your life. Subscribe now, double tap that screen right now.
In transportation, we're enabling engineering breakthroughs that lead to a better tomorrow.
Grown-up perks, zero grown-up stress. With AAA, it pays to be a member. You seeing this?
So this is the place that's famous for chicken? Chicken is chicken.
Famous last words. Leaves his hand.
Well, don't you find it very interesting that it's always the religion of Christianity or the quote-unquote followers of Christ that are always the ones that are being mocked? Because the people that defend Kendrick will say, no, this picture, these videos, when he's doing this is his creative way of saying he's not your savior. No, it's not. Listen to his lyrics. I just showed you his lyrics. He's telling you who he is. Let's go back to Family Ties because there's something else I forgot to show you. Because down here, he literally says, the facts mean this is a vaccine and the game need me to survive. The Elohim, the rebirth. Before you get to the Father, you gotta holler at me first. Last time I checked, the scripture says that Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and life. No man comes to the Father but by me. Here, Kendrick Lamar says he's the Elohim, the rebirth. Before you get to the Father, you have to talk to Kendrick. That is Kendrick claiming himself to be God. And then in one of his performances where Kendrick is bleeding down his face from the crown of thorns, which once again, my original point earlier was that you'll notice that he don't make fun of any other religion. He's not going to do this to Muslims. He's not doing this to Judaism, but he will do this to followers of Christ because there's very little to no backlash for it. But what's so crazy about this performance is that outside of the blasphemous fact that he's wearing a crown of thorns and performing with it on as if it's some sort of jewelry, he's literally performing on stage for quote-unquote women's rights. Women's rights, that meaning unaliving babies in the womb, which is flat out evil. That's what he's on stage for. And don't even get me started with the Super Bowl performance last year. I know a lot of people were distracted by the fact that one, Kendrick Lamar actually got to perform, but two, he performed not like us, right? First time in Super Bowl history that a diss record was performed. But there's something else about that performance that a lot of people missed because once again, this performance proved that Kendrick Lamar is an occultist and a Freemason. From the fact that it started off with a portal with the forbidden fruit. I know the scriptures don't exactly tell us the fruit. The Bible don't tell us what kind of fruit it is, but we know a lot of people typically consider that to be the apple, which is my belief as to how Apple actually came up with the title and design of their company, the forbidden fruit, which is why part of it is bitten off. So it starts off with us going into a portal, much like the Travis Scott concert many years ago, where all those people lost their life. They had a portal on stage. Samuel L. Jackson was directing the show, and he was representing Uncle Sam, right? That was a play on his name. But what's something that's interesting about this is that Uncle Sam is also a Freemason. So you have a Freemason directing Kendrick Lamar's show. And then you had all types of Freemason imagery and poses. You had the hangman. You had another one where they had their hands up to the side. That's a Freemason pose. They also had the alchemic imagery, such as the upside right triangle for fire or masculinity. And then they had an upside down triangle for water or for femininity, which explains why it is that SZA was placed in the upside down triangle. And we've spoken about the upside down triangle on Patreon quite a bit because this is a commonly flaunted thing in the music industry and in Hollywood with their hand poses. They'll either do an upside right triangle with their hand pose, or they'll do an upside down triangle. P. Diddy being one of the most popular examples. It is also not a coincidence that SZA is dressed in all red, as she represents the Scarlet Woman. We've spoken about this with the artist Doja Cat, and we also saw this with Rihanna's Super Bowl performance as well. This is something that is commonly practiced by occultists. Kendrick Lamar even has a song called Untitled 03 5/28/2013. I want you all to listen to what he said in this song. On verse 4, Kendrick says, "What the white man say, a peace of minds. That's what the white man wanted when I rhyme. Telling me that he's selling me just for $10.99. If I go platinum from rapping, I do the company fine. What if I compromise? He said it don't even matter. You make $1 million or more, you living better than average. You losing your core following, gaining it all. He put a price on my talent, I hit the bank and withdraw. Hit the bank and withdraw, hit the bank and withdraw. Put myself in the rocket ship and I shot for the stars. Look at what you're accomplishing." What he said to the boy, "I'm gonna make you some promises that you just can't ignore. Your profession anonymous as an artist if I don't target your market. If you ain't signing your signature when I throw you my wallet, a lot of rappers are giving their demo all in the toilet. Your world tour, your masters, mortgage, I need a piece. I holler what you do, what you say. I shall enjoy the fruits of my labor if I get freed today." These are undeniable facts about Kendrick Lamar. But there's even something deeper I want to talk about when it comes to Kendrick, Drake, and J. Cole. Something that I've noticed, because I believe something is happening in J. Cole's career. I believe something is happening in all of their careers that I don't believe is a mistake. There's a lot of moving parts here. Kendrick Lamar is seeing more success than he's ever seen in his career. And I just showed you the proof as to why that is. Because Kendrick Lamar took the oath. It doesn't matter if you believe he's skilled. I agree. It doesn't matter if you like his music. I like his music too. It doesn't matter if you believe he's talented. He is talented. He's also a sellout, and he's being rewarded for it. Does no one find it coincidental or strange that Kendrick Lamar came into the music industry as a quote-unquote conscious rapper, but when you listen to the music and his imagery, like what I showed you in this video, he has one-eye symbolism just like the rest of these celebrities do? How can somebody explain that to me? His music, you can say, yes, Kendrick Lamar has conscious records and lyrics, but Kendrick Lamar also glorifies a lot of the things that he claims to be against. Once again, this is called confusion. One record, you're pointing out the injustices in communities, but the next record, you're glorifying the very thing that destroys communities. It makes no sense. When you look at Drake's career, I find it very interesting. Drake is probably, from a statistical perspective, the most successful out of the three. I don't believe it's a coincidence that when you look at how Drake first came into the industry, which I believe he was an industry plant from the jump. Half black, half Jewish, I don't think that's a coincidence. Everything I say in this video is alleged. When you look at Drake's career when he first came into the industry, he was the lover boy. A lot of people called him soft, said that he was promoting things in his music that they didn't like, such as Marvin's Room, right? One of his biggest records, most popular records, but it's the idea of calling another man's girl, singing to her about why she should leave him and get with Drake. A lot of people didn't like that. They called him soft. Look at Drake's career now. Look at his image now. He's progressed into complete darkness. He promotes putting hits out on people in his music, and it's been alleged, I'm not saying this is a fact, of him actually being behind actual hits that's taking place in real life, including other musicians like Tentacion. I'm not saying he did that. I'm saying those are rumors. It's been a lot of valid claims, incredible information to suggest the fact that Drake has 100% been behind certain people being attacked, robbed, beat up for saying bad things about him. That's not the Drake that came into the industry. When you look at Drake's OVO logo, can anybody just take a guess why he would use an owl? Why an owl? What does an owl have to do with OVO? Where did he even come up with the term OVO? I'll tell you where he came from. We all should know where the owl inspiration came from, and the OVO is in reverence to Aleister Crowley's OTO, which is once again the person that many people revere in the music industry, including Kendrick Lamar's former label mate, Ab-Soul, who literally titled his entire album Do What Thou Wilt, which was a nod to Aleister Crowley. But he's not the only one, as Jay-Z is also another one who publicly admires Aleister Crowley, highly reveres Aleister Crowley, as this right here, you can see the Do What Thou Wilt on his hoodie, as this is, I believe, a behind-the-scenes video from the I Run This Town featuring Rihanna music video, which, by the way, the music video in itself was pretty demonic, and we made a video on that maybe 2 or 3 years ago as well. Drake is no different. His album cover or his song cover for Summer 16, Drake always throwing up the 666 logo even though he's not in the game. What would he be doing that for? He does the double horns religiously, pun intended, in his videos, his concerts. That's not a coincidence. Then we get to J. Cole. J. Cole is interesting. A lot of people know that J. Cole is my favorite rapper of all time, but that doesn't mean that I'm oblivious to who J. Cole is. He's a part of the industry. I understand that. But his career is actually very interesting because J. Cole came into the industry like his album cover for Sideline Story. A lot of people pointed out the upside down cross that's on his album cover. His album cover for Born Sinner is obviously the double horned image. And even when you listen to his lyrics, he even has a song similar to Kendrick Lamar where he's talking about having to sell his soul to make it. But ever since that point, the symbolism, lyrics that talk about those sort of things have almost disappeared in J. Cole's career. J. Cole isn't a dark artist. He doesn't talk about those things. Those cryptic lyrics about Metatron and Gabrielle and being a Freemason. It's all over Kendrick's career. It's all over his music. You don't find that in J. Cole's music. Trust me, I would know. I listened to a lot of J. Cole in my life before. You don't find that in his music. Why am I talking about that? Because Kendrick is winning all these Grammys. Drake is winning, just won what, Artist of the Decade. These artists are being rewarded. J. Cole, not so much. It's also been rumored that he has been on bad terms with Jay-Z for a very long time. Many people have even alluded to the fact that he may be independent. He's talked about his music buying his masters back. He has a freestyle called 3001. He said, ask Jay-Z how much I gross for that label. He paid dues and paid Jay-Z for his masters. Business is business. In his most recent song titled Diss 2 Trap 2, where he's rapping his life in reverse, which is a nod to the artist Nas, who J. Cole has been open about that's his favorite artist of all time, which that's weird because Jay-Z beat Nas, had a public beef even though they would later make amends. That's also J. Cole's favorite artist. And in this record where he's rapping backwards, similar to how Nas did, J. Cole has a line where he says Jay-Z is one of the so-called kings. Some people don't really know how to feel about that. They don't know if that's a knock to Jay-Z or what. So what am I getting at here? J. Cole has been receiving a lot of hate. Part of it is because he apologized during the beef. But could that really be what's going on here? Also, when you consider the fact that you got Cameron, who waited just 2 days before the album comes out to drop on his episode. Even though the news came out weeks ago, he decided 2 days before the album comes out, the week of J. Cole's album release, to speak about some beef and the reason that he's suing J. Cole, which once again is more slander towards J. Cole, which I found that to be very interesting, the timing of it all. Because I believe that there are other things that are taking place. It could be some sort of orchestrated effort because J. Cole has bought his masters back. He's doing his own thing. He didn't go down the lane of promoting and glorifying street violence like Drake has done, like Kendrick has done at times. He hasn't promoted a lot of the occultism in his music the way both Drake and Kendrick has done throughout their career. His Dreamville clothing and things of that sort isn't very dark. So I just wonder if there are other politics that are happening behind the scenes to punish J. Cole. And I don't mean like totally punish him because obviously he won't even be in the industry anymore, let alone grossing these high numbers whenever his album drops. But I just wonder if he's being semi-punished for not doing some of the things that Drake and Kendrick sort of gave into. In J. Cole's song Heaven's EP, he says Drake and Kendrick Lamar are superstars to him. But a lot of people fell for the bells and whistles. What does that mean? He says, so when people see him out, he moves awkwardly. Maybe it's because he's afraid of his luminosity. What does that mean? I wonder, we can only speculate, I wonder if that just means the things that I was supposed to do, the things I'm expected to do in this industry, I guess I'm afraid to lean all the way in and do the things that they want me to do. Then I would win these Grammys. Then I would be respected and supported more in the industry. And again, this isn't to let J. Cole off the hook. It's just trying to objectively analyze how their careers all progress and some of the weird things that are taking place. So for example, Jay-Z and J. Cole being rumored to not be on good terms. Fat Joe and Jadakiss, two rappers who have a podcast together, Fat Joe just recently criticized J. Cole. Well, what's interesting about that is that the Fat Joe and Jadakiss podcast are literally in business with Roc Nation. So many people believe that Fat Joe got permission from Jay-Z to criticize Cole, to once again further help shape this narrative around J. Cole.
Y'all missing the point. Y'all ain't hearing it. Nobody's paying attention to what's saying. No, pay attention to what's being said. Watch this. Fat Joe says, y'all want me to get this to get 100 million? Who is the y'all?
The Roc Nation.
The motherfuckers is telling him that running the business. So he got permission from them to go at Cole.
Oh, I ain't gonna lie. You just took it somewhere. You just I didn't think of. Yo.
Bro, he got permission to say that. He's with them. By the way, and then now you see all the little things about Jay-Z and J. Cole might have a beef now.
But there also being rumors out there one day that J. Cole, Drake, Future were talking. Jay-Z walks into the room, walks over, and just literally says in front of everybody to Drake to give J. Cole a hit record.
Also said that he was at one of the functions, him and Eve and Future and Drake was there, and they're really close. So they all got together and they was talking, having a good old time, exchanging jokes, laughing and shit, having the time of their lives. And then Hov got there and he seen them all together and he walked over to them and he was like, oh, give him one. Talking about Drake should give Cole a hit, and then he walked off. So disrespectful.
That is very disrespectful. And then earlier I mentioned the fact that Kendrick Lamar performed at the Super Bowl last year. Well, do you know who's the person who gets to select the artist to perform on the halftime show? Jay-Z. Only the person that J. Cole signed to. Jay-Z had an opportunity to place his artist, J. Cole, in that position, but he chose not to. And from a business perspective, it made the most sense because Kendrick Lamar had the biggest career of his life. But you couldn't find a way to fit J. Cole in? No. And people have noticed that. Jay-Z, J. Cole have not had a feature together in over 15 years. That is a very long time. So it just once again makes you wonder what's really going on behind the scenes that sort of dictates how a person's career goes. But as always, this video is way longer than I thought it was going to be. Hop in the comment section, let me know what you all think. I always appreciate hearing you all's feedback. As always, I'm Demetrius. I go by Didi. I'll catch you all in the next one. Peace.
Real quick, don't get it twisted. You need to know who you in here with. It's your boy Dealatofficial and my family. And this seed. No filters. Hit that like button, double tap the screen. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss an episode. And share this with the world. Like literally, share this with the world. Say it with me. Share this with the world. With that same energy. Share this with the world. Right. Don't forget, you see the cash app. You want to be a part of the raffle. You really want to. You really want to. You see the cash app. You see the super chat. We got the challenge going on. 10 super chats. You see what it is. Shout out to Lori coming in heavy and large with the super chat support, with the love, all the way to the building. Give me some shout outs. Shout out to Chris in the building. Lori in the building. Theo in the building. Savage in the building. I see you, fam. Alchemist in the building. I see how you come. Q Chase in the building. You know what it is and what it ain't, fam. Coming all the way in, coming all the way live. Ain't forgot, ain't forget. You know what I'm saying? That's how we coming, how we going, how we living. That's what we doing. King on deck in the building. Let's keep the levels going. Let's keep the levels going. You see what's going on real quick. Kendrick Lamar. We know what you're doing, boy. You're going to get cooked because we see how you're coming and you're going. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. Let's go.
This is Mike, and Mike just had the best week of his life. It started with a Negroni by the pool, followed by unlimited breakfast.
In 2024, the world watched as Kendrick Lamar took the top spot in hip-hop from Drake, and in 2025, we saw Kendrick cement his place as the new king of hip-hop. Not only did he drop the biggest album of the year, but he also went on the biggest tour of the year and received the most Grammy Awards of any artist that year. It couldn't have been any clearer that he won when he performed Not Like Us at the literal Super Bowl. This was the moment he completely won over the culture. No other rapper before had performed a diss track calling another rapper a PDF file at the Super Bowl. Drake was dissed in front of hundreds of millions of people live. It was like the entire industry as a whole took the crown off Drake's head and placed it on Kendrick's. Now, while Kendrick did become the biggest rapper after beating Drake, his fans would tell you that they love Kendrick not only because he beat Drake in a beef, but because Kendrick is real and authentic and represents morals. He's Mr. Morale after all. They see Kendrick as the true face of hip-hop, while Drake is just the biggest industry puppet. But is that truly the case? Is Kendrick really what he portrays himself as? Or is he really just like Drake, another industry puppet putting on a show for the record labels? By the end of this video, you will come to the realization that Kendrick is not that different from Drake. Hey guys, I hope all is well. Welcome back to The Truth Is, where I drop new videos exposing the truth weekly. In today's episode, we will be revealing the truth about Kendrick Lamar. I felt it would only be fair to follow up my last deep dive video on Drake with a deep dive into Kendrick. This video will go over all my research into Kendrick over the years to reveal that he's not that different from Drake. Let's get right into it. Kendrick Lamar was born June 17, 1987 in Compton, California. Growing up, Kendrick dealt with poverty and crime. He lived in an apartment paid for by Section 8, a form of public assistance, and his family also relied on welfare to afford food. Kendrick himself wasn't really a troublemaker, but some of his best friends were in gangs and lived that life. When Kendrick turned 8, he was able to witness his idols Tupac and Dr. Dre filming the California Love music video. Kendrick states that this was an important moment for him. He was a loner as a kid and kept to himself while in school because he was shy. Kendrick would break out of this shell by the time he made it to high school. When he turned 16, he would release his first mixtape under Concrete Jungle Music. His mixtape was well received in his city and ended up getting into the hands of TDE, which would sign Kendrick. He quickly got to work, and for 2 years, Kendrick would be in the studio mastering his sound and perfecting his image before they released his debut project, Training Day. His record label would pull strings and get him to open up for The Game on tour. Kendrick even recorded 2 songs with The Game, going by the name K-Dot. In 2008, Kendrick was put in the background of a J-Rock video, who was also signed to TDE. The song featured Lil Wayne, and Kendrick got the opportunity to meet him, who would eventually give him a cosign. He would gain more recognition after freestyling on one of Charles Hamilton's shows. In 2009, Kendrick would release his third mixtape titled C4, which was heavily influenced by Lil Wayne's The Carter 3. This would be his last project as K-Dot, ditching the name and using his legal name from then on. By the end of 2009, Kendrick linked up with J-Rock, Ab-Soul, and Schoolboy Q, forming Black Hippie. In 2010, Kendrick would end up touring with Tech 9, and in September, he would release his project Overly Dedicated, which entered the 72nd spot on the Billboard Hot 100. One of the songs on the project was Kendrick's Ignorance is Bliss, which eventually caught the attention of no other than Dr. Dre himself, who saw the video on YouTube. Dre quickly held on to Kendrick and put him on a song with Snoop Dogg for his Detox album. This is when people started to speculate that Kendrick might have signed to Aftermath Entertainment. In 2011, Kendrick would get another big look when he was invited to be a part of the 2011 XXL freshman class. Using the momentum of the XXL list, Kendrick announced the release of his project Section 80, releasing High Power from the project. On July 2nd, 2011, Kendrick would release Section 80, which even though only sold 5,300 copies in its first week, changed Kendrick's life forever. The industry loved this project, and soon after, he was being crowned the new king of the West. Fast forward to today, Kendrick Lamar is currently the biggest rapper in the world. For the last year, Kendrick has completely dominated the industry, dropping a #1 album and winning 5 Grammys in 1 award show. He has been able to make it to a level in the music industry that very few make it to, which is strange for a rapper like Kendrick, who doesn't fit the mold of the average mainstream rapper. How was Kendrick able to become such a big star when he's such an anti-mainstream artist? Most people who listen to Kendrick feel that he's unlike the other mainstream rappers. They feel that his music doesn't often talk about the same concepts that all rappers touch on. While most rappers are rapping about money, cars, and women, Kendrick is rapping about the challenges faced by Black Americans living in America. But even while making songs like this, he was somehow able to go mainstream. This is something that is rather surprising, as music that is deemed conscious normally doesn't receive mainstream attention. But somehow, Kendrick was on the world stage, receiving praise and support from the entire industry, and made it to the very top. This simply doesn't make any sense, as everything the music industry stands for, Kendrick seems to be against. So why is the industry so supportive of Kendrick Lamar? Why has the elite in the music industry chosen Kendrick to be the face of rap? Why did they show so much support and love to him, knowing that he is preaching a message that goes against the industry? To most Kendrick fans, they just believe that he is that talented and his music is that good, and that's the reason he made it to the top. But boy, are they wrong. The truth is, Kendrick isn't who he seems to be. Kendrick Lamar is a puppet, just like the rest of them, pushed to the world by mainstream music. The mainstream music industry wouldn't push Kendrick if he were truly against them. You can't acknowledge that every rapper in the industry is a puppet, but when it comes to Kendrick, who's a massive mainstream artist, he's not. That makes zero sense. If Kendrick was against the industry, he wouldn't have a career. He would be an underground rapper you never heard about. Kendrick has been signed to a major record label since day one, and he still is. I have seen so many people comment under my video claiming that Kendrick is an independent artist, but with a Google search, you can find that he has a record deal with a major label. Kendrick releases his music through his own record label called PG Land, which has a distribution deal with Interscope Records, which is owned by Universal Music Group, the biggest record label in the world. A distribution deal is basically the same as a record deal, with just more leverage on the artist side. A distribution deal is still a record deal. The record label fronted Kendrick a large amount of money for a percentage of the profit his music makes. Just like a regular record deal would give the label power over the artist, so does the distribution deal. The label still has the power to approve songs before they come out. They still can choose to stop songs from coming out and even alter them. It's the same exact deal, but those with a distribution deal have more leverage on the money split side. The label controls Kendrick, just like they control every other artist. All of these rappers had record label support and were made stars by the elite. These elites wouldn't push these artists if it were to work against them. Why would they make Kendrick such a big star if he were really pushing a message against their agenda? It's not happening. Kendrick is a puppet being used to deceive, and by the end of this video, you will see that Kendrick isn't who he seems to be. There's a reason why the elite made Kendrick such a big star, even though he's quote-unquote a conscious rapper. This is how the elite can deceive the people who don't fall for the simple industry themes. The people who aren't hypnotized by money, women, and jewelry. The people who are not falling in line with their agenda. So they create rappers like Kendrick that they can use to deceive those people. As much as you wouldn't want to hear this, Kendrick is an industry plant. Kendrick was recruited at an early age. His first ever mixtape was released under a record label when he was only 16. Before he had any actual fame and recognition, he was already touring with big names and getting co-signs from the hottest artists. He was signed before he had any real buzz, and he was developed by TDE, which was owned by Interscope and UMG. Kendrick was put on Drake's tour when he was a nobody to get him buzz. There were labels pulling the strings to create his career. He got all the mainstream support from day one. This is because he was chosen. Kendrick is a sellout. He sold out like every other rapper and has been showing us this the entire time. Not only does Kendrick show his alliance, but he also uses secret Masonic words in his music. We see a perfect example of this in Jeezy's song American Dream, on which Kendrick is featured on. In the song, Kendrick raps, "I hear the world calling, tell me if you're all in. Look, I gotta eat, I gotta make money with, I gotta feast, I gotta rely on what is known to a traveling man." While this might seem like just another regular verse with nothing to it, there's actually a secret Masonic word hidden in it. In this line, when Kendrick said, "I gotta feast, I gotta rely on what is known to the traveling man," he is talking the Masonic code. The Freemasons have secret ways to identify each other. They use hand grips and secret phrases. One way for Masons who don't know each other to identify that they're members is by asking, "Are you a traveling man?" which literally means, "Are you a Freemason?" This is what Kendrick is referring to by calling himself a traveling man. This is Masonic code, and I believe it proves Kendrick is a Mason. We find plenty of proof when we take a look at his lyrics and the imagery in his music videos. And plenty of Kendrick's songs, he lets us know that he sold his soul to have the world, that he is a puppet being used by the elite. In his song Kendrick Lamar, he states he would never sell his soul, but if you carefully read the lyrics, he admits to doing just that. In the song he raps, "Just to get $1, will I sell my soul? I look the devil in the eyes and tell him hell no. They say anything worth having is worth the wait. Well, I want the world. Tell them how long that takes. There is no time like now. I'll cut my patience short." Even though Kendrick starts the line by saying he would never sell his soul to have the world, by the end of the line, He confirms that he compromised and sold his soul. This bar is telling us that Kendrick wanted the world but didn't want to sell out. But he realized how hard and how much longer it would be to make it on his own. So like he said, he cut his patience short and sold his soul and took the deal. Kendrick knows that to make it to the top, he has to sell his soul or take the long route, which isn't guaranteed. Even though he didn't want to sell his soul, he still in his own words wanted the world, so he was willing to cut his patience short and take the deal for a faster, easier route to the top. This isn't the only song where Kendrick refers to making a deal with the devil for endless fame and riches. As in his song For Sale, Kendrick raps about this exact same thing. In the song, we see Kendrick having a conversation with a person he calls Lucy. Now, who's Lucy? Well, it's a nickname for Lucifer. If we look at the Genius breakdown of the song, they tell us this themselves that Kendrick is referring to Lucifer as Lucy. Genius said this about the song. This song offers a deeper insight into the previously introduced figure of Lucy, a character representing Lucifer. As the song goes on, it is understood that Lucy is short for Lucifer, hence the lines about temptation and signing contracts. The name makes the song work in tandem with For Free. Both songs related to his value as a musician and how that transcends into his value as a person. Now, when we look at what this conversation was between Lucy and Kendrick Lamar, we can see that Lucifer was offering Kendrick the world just like he did to Jesus. In the song, Kendrick rapped, "You said to me, you said your name was Lucy. I said, where's Ricardo? You said, oh no, not the show. Then you spit a little rap to me like this. When I turned 26, I was like, oh, you said to me. I remember what you said to me. You said, my name is Lucy, Kendrick. You introduced me, Kendrick. Usually I don't do this, but I see you and me, Kendrick. Lucy give you no worries. Lucy has a million stories about these rappers that I came after when they were boring. Lucy gon' fill your pockets. Lucy gon' move your mama out of Compton. Inside that gigantic mansion as I promised. Lucy just wants your trust and loyalty. But avoiding me? It's not so easy. I'm at these functions accordingly. Kendrick, Lucy don't slack a minute. Lucy works harder. Lucy gon' call you even when Lucy knows you love your father. I'm Lucy. I loosely heard prayers on your first album, Truly. Lucy don't mind, cause at the end of the day, you'll pursue me. Lucy go get it. Lucy not timid. Lucy up front. Lucy got paperwork on top of paperwork. I want you to know that Lucy got you. All of your life I watched you. And now you all grown up to sign this contract if that's possible. In these lyrics, Kendrick is referring to the moment he sold his soul. He is telling us how the devil approached him and offered him the world. Kendrick even implies that this deal with the devil was for his record contract, as in the line he states, now you're all grown up to sign this contract if that's possible.
Have you heard about the Red Fellas?
What about them? If your family cheated you out of billions, how far would you go?
Kendrick sold his soul long ago, and he's being used to misguide the masses. He doesn't only tell us this in this song, as he again raps about making a deal with the devil in one of his unreleased songs that is titled Untitled 03, 05/28/2013. You can find the lyrics to the song on Genius. In the song, Kendrick admits that he sold out and became a puppet for the elite. He raps, a peace of mind, that's what the white man wanted when I rhyme. Telling me that he's selling me just for $10.99. If I go platinum from rapping, I do the company fine. What if I compromise? He said it don't even matter. You'll make $1 million or more. You living better than average. You losing your core following, gaining it all. He put a price on my talent. I hit the bank and withdraw. Hit the bank and withdraw. Hit the bank and withdraw. Put myself in a rocket ship and I shot for the stars. Look at what you're accomplishing. I'm gonna make you some promises that you just can't ignore. Kendrick admits that he is compromising his morals and soul for the world. But like he said, they put a price on his talent and he hit the bank and withdraw. Meaning, he sold out to the elite who gave him the world. Looking at the imagery in Kendrick's music video also tells us exactly what we need to know. Kendrick presents himself as a Christian and a follower of Christ. But if we look at all of his music videos, we see him worshiping the old pagan gods. The All of the Stars video starts with Kendrick being shown as a god. He is shown on a boat that's being held up by a sea of people. This is a representation of Kendrick being enlightened through the occult teachings. He is also showing himself as a god being worshipped by the masses. At the end of the video, we see Kendrick giving praise to the old Egyptian gods. This is very telling and contradictory. Kendrick claims to be a Christian who worships Christ, but is showing us he is praising the old pagan gods, something that God forbids in the Bible. This makes zero sense. The Masons get all their rituals and practices from ancient Egypt. Their Masonic rituals are meant to channel these deities. Aleister Crowley built his entire occult religion on worshiping Egyptian gods. From this video on, Kendrick started taking on this Christ-like figure. We see this persona fully embraced in his N95 music video. The entire video is just Kendrick presenting himself as Christ. Kendrick starts the music video with a young boy looking at him, levitating over the world as if he were a god. Clearly, once again, we see him depicting himself as a Christ-like figure. The scene then changes to show him rapping next to a woman wearing a Masonic checkerboard skirt. The video is full of instances where it compares Kendrick to Jesus. They show him walking on water, just like it said Jesus did. The video ends with Kendrick levitating over the world. The message is clear as day. On his album cover that this song is on, Kendrick is also showing himself as Jesus or God. The album cover shows Kendrick wearing a crown of thorns like it said Jesus did. This is Kendrick painting himself as a Christ-like figure. In his music video for his song Count Me Out, we see more suspicious imagery coming from Kendrick. The video starts with Kendrick at a therapy session, and immediately we can spot the Masonic duality as Kendrick is dressed in black while the therapist is dressed in white. In the opening scene, Kendrick tells his therapist that he thought his time was up and then continues to tell her a story about an incident that happened to him where he admits to lying to someone and feeling decent about it. This part is very important and revealing, but would most likely go over most people's heads. Kendrick opening the video by letting the audience know that he is lying to the people but feels good about it is a reference to the deceiver, the father of lies, and you will see what I mean in a second. Kendrick goes on to state that he thought his time was up, referring to Lucifer, whose time has been running out since the fall. To further prove Kendrick is representing Lucifer, the therapist asks Kendrick why he texts her telling her he feels like he has fallen. Then in the very next scene, they show what appears to be a child dressed in red with wings on its back like a fallen angel. The child then ends up being Kendrick. This scene openly depicts Kendrick representing himself as the Antichrist, showing us exactly why he had been depicting himself as Christ in all his previous videos. This is something he continues in his last album, GNX. In GNX, Kendrick has a song called Resurrection, where he has some very interesting lines. In his song Reincarnated, Kendrick lets us know that the spirit of Lucifer lives within him, like it does in all huge stars. He tells us in the song that he was kicked out of heaven for rebelling against God. He also lets us know that what he represents and teaches is the concept of self-worship and man being their own God through the forbidden knowledge. In the first verse, he raps as the artist John Lee Hooker, also known as the Boogeyman, with Kendrick implying that his spirit was once the same spirit that possessed John Lee Hooker. He rapped, "I got this fire burning in me from within. Concentrated thoughts on who I used to be. I'm shedding skin. Every day a new version of me. A third of me demented, cemented in pain. Juggling the pros and cons of fame. I don't know how to make friends. I'm a lonely soul. I recollect this isolation I was 4 years old. Truth be told, I've been battling myself, trying to navigate the real and the fake. Cynical about the judgment day. I did pass life regression last year, and it effed me up. Reincarnated on this earth for 100 plus. Body after body, lesson after lesson. Let's take it back to Michigan in 1947. My father kicked me out the house because I wouldn't listen to him. I don't care about his influence, only love what I was doing. Gifted as a musician, I played guitar on a grand level, the most talented where I'm from, but I had to rebel. And I'm so off in the sunset, searching for my place in the world. With my guitar up on my hip, as the story unfurled, I found myself with a pocket full of money and a whole lot of respect. While the record business loved me, I was head of rhythm and blues, the woman that fell to their feet, so many to choose. But I manipulated power as I lied to the masses, died with money. Gluttony was too attractive, reincarnated. There's a lot of important information in this verse. First, we see him make a reference to having this concentrated fire within him. This is actually connected to occult knowledge and illumination through forbidden knowledge. This is referring to the fire of Prometheus. Prometheus was the god who stole the fire from the Olympian gods and gave it to man, disobeying the gods. In this case, the fire represents forbidden knowledge, the knowledge of good and evil, which Prometheus took from the gods and gave to man so they can be as the gods. Prometheus is another representation of Lucifer, who through the serpent led Adam and Eve to the forbidden knowledge. In this verse, Kendrick is referring to himself as Prometheus and Lucifer. He has the fire within him, which is the forbidden knowledge. He then continues in the song by talking about being reincarnated and how he's been in body after body, telling his life as the musician John Lee Hooker. The most important part of this verse was when he rapped, "But I manipulated power as I lied to the masses, died with money, gluttony was too attractive, reincarnated." Kendrick admits that he manipulated his power and lied to the masses, again referring to the forbidden knowledge and Lucifer who deceived mankind. We also see how he admits that at the end, the forbidden knowledge still ended in death. Even though Lucifer claimed that through the forbidden knowledge man wouldn't die, the forbidden knowledge still corrupted their souls and ended in their death. Sin still took the victory as they were enslaved by it. Kendrick is telling us that through this forbidden knowledge, the knowledge of Prometheus, he gained the power and used it to manipulate the masses, but it also led to his downfall because it corrupted him. In the second verse, he raps, "Another life had placed me as a black woman in the chitlin circuit, seductive vocalist as the promoter hit the curtains. My voice was angelic, straight from heaven. The crowd sobbed. A musical genius, what the articles emphasized. Had everything I wanted, but I couldn't escape addiction. Needles had me in fatal positions restricted. Turned on my family. I went wherever cameras be. No private planes for my insanity. Self-indulged, discipline never been my sentiments. I needed drugs. To me, an 8-ball was penicillin. F-love. My happiness was in that brown sugar. Sex and melodies gave me hope when nobody was looking. My first assistant was a small..."
Shut up! Make no sense. Steady running mouth. Shut up. Just shut it up in here. Better shut it up in here. Shout out Nene Loves Heavy TV in the building. Me too, because they hit different, don't they? I know it. They definitely hit different when they hit this. I'm going to tell you right now. You see the Cash App. You see the Super Chat. You know it's raffle time. You better get it in here. You better get your $2 in. You better get your $5 in here. You want that t-shirt. You want that hoodie. Your color, the way you want it. Signed by your boy Dilla T. Sponsored by yours truly. Nene Loves Heavy TV in the building always. You better understand what's going on. Let me tell you something what's happening here right now in your face. This is the, see, because some of y'all was like, oh my God, not Kendrick. Fam, like, not Kendrick. Oh my God, not Kendrick. Oh my God. Oh God. Really? Oh my God. I seen that. People writing that like, not Kendrick. And it's funny because, like yesterday, I was so disrupted or just disturbed by these people like CeeLo not standing on business. You dress up like a little demon, and then somebody asks you, is you on demon time? And you say, no, I'm just interested. We just look interested. And it's funny too because, like he said, what he's a part of is supposed to be confusion. But the funny part is, if you call him out on this right now, like literally at a concert, anywhere, if you call him out on this right now, what could he say? Normally, when you call them out on this, they can't say nothing. They don't really have a response that's suitable. And because of that, they know what they're doing. But I think to me, when you look at Kendrick Lamar, it's kind of more difficult it's more difficult because you didn't see him come out loud and proud. You actually really have to know his story. See, a lot of these people, you don't know their story. You don't know their background. You don't know their situation. And then when you look up and you say, oh, wow, he's involved. But what's funny is it's the way he's involved. He's still involved in the manner as everyone else is, but he's a person that comes from the hood, from poverty, from the ghetto, from projects, from peanut butter and jelly, butter bread, sugar bread, cereal in the cup. Oh man, let's keep going. Lights off, lights on. Water off, water on, gas off, gas on. Roaches. I don't know if you ever had them friends. We used to. See, he come from that. So you wouldn't think he finna put himself in the same weird syrup bread, tell it like it is. And then no, tell me, everybody know what it is. If you went through it, you better tell me what you ate. Cause that butter bread, boy, don't get it twisted in here. Fire. Even ain't had no peanut, ain't had no peanut butter. We was just eating jelly bread. You hear me? Jelly sandwiches. What you talking about? I used to make some of the. It was a time where I just ate bread. You know it's real, fam, but you gotta go back to before Christ days, to the old, where you just ate bread. Water and bread. You better hear me, huh? If you've been through it and you know what I'm talking about, you better tell me what you know about it. Because that grilled cheese sandwich would have licked you up. But I'm going to tell you right now, when you just going to eat bread and water, you better know where you're coming from off in here. Just smash bread and just eat good Wonder bread. You better know what you got if you ain't got it, because you had to do it, because you had to survive. You better hear me. Fair got a loaf. Fair got a loaf. Fair got a loaf and a jug. What we used to bag? You better tell Fair about that gummy cheese. Boy, that's some of the best grits. We got a loaf. I got a loaf of bread. I got a loaf of bread. I got a jug. I got a gallon of water. Loaf and a gallon. You better hear me. We was in there, boy. We was getting it in the way we had to get it in. You better know what it is. And if we had to, I'm gonna tell you right now, if one of the bills was off, we used to tell my mama, hey, go to Ansu house. We gonna stay in the hood. Yeah, me and my brother, we gonna stay in the hood. Lights off, you going on, we'll get at you in the morning. What you talking about, fam? Big jelly sandwiches, big cereal in the cup, big cereal, no milk. What? Better put some water on that shit. You better tell fam what you had. You better tell them what you had to do it. Huh? Better tell them what you had to do it. Because we had to survive. But it's the fact, you don't expect Kendrick Lamar to be on the word. And it's not word, it's actually a religion. It's actually a place. It's actually a society. It's actually something real they believe in, that they do in the manner that they do it in. And because of that, you need to understand, he's telling you this, and it's so funny too, because this further lets you know more that back then you had to have, when you got signed with a label, you had decisions to make right then and there. And see, now it's so independent to where the label comes in later, and now like they want you to do all the footwork. Back then it was called like artist development. They'll sign you. If you really wasn't ready, they'll just develop you, put you in the studio, you recording all day and night. They got you dancing, they got you rehearsing, they got you doing it all. And then at some point, you come outside. Now they ready for you. Now, oh no, see, it's different because the label will get the crowd. They will get the people. See, now they want you to get the people. You get everyone. You get the crowd. You get the following. And then they just swoop on in like, hey, how you doing? We heard about you. Yeah, we heard about you. We like what we're seeing. We like what we hear. At this point, we want to present a deal. Yeah, okay. So what we want to do, we're looking at the back end. We're thinking 80-30, more like, yeah, 80-20, 70-30. Yeah. And fam and them like, so what's that? Yeah, that's about 3 million. Yeah, they like, oh yeah, 3 million. For 3 million. Now mind you, you got a following. You selling merch, music, tickets. You can pay for shows. You getting paid for features. You getting paid for just appearances, publishing. Yes, but so at some point, your revenue is at some point building that 3 million. So whether you're doing 3,000, 300,000, at some point that growth is, when you put it together, it's going to say, okay, well, we're headed to 3 million. We're in a projection. Okay, we're projected to see 3 million by the end of the year, right? So in your mind, you're like, okay, well, yeah, cool. So you see the money, you see the fame, you see everything, and then all of a sudden you just sign your life away. But you didn't think that you could have got that same 3 million 8 months later than just getting it right there in your face. And that's the difference between patience. And he told you that he's not patient. So for those that love Kendrick Lamar, see how he coming, the way he moving, Super Bowl, doing this and that. The route and the street he chose is, he know what he chose. I think, to me, it's more funny because, again, in our community, in this community, that's real different. When you laughing about deceiving your brothers and sisters, your cousins, your nieces and nephews, your partners, your family members. You're laughing about deceiving us. Hold up, somebody hear me today. Somebody hear me right now. And this is how you know we sleep. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. Somebody ain't woke. This is how you know we sleep. This man had an interview laughing about deceiving you and me and our kids and everybody in between. So for everybody that not like us and the whole album, whatever, he is literally laughing in live interviews about how we're being lied to and deceived and how he's doing a great job at it. See, that'll push your button because you know he's making fun of you because he's lying to you. See, it's different with other artists. They not really having interviews about the deception. They just talking about who they worshiping. But it's so funny when somebody want to pick at you and be like, ha ha, you're stupid, you so dumb, you don't even know what we just did to you. We finna do it again too, and you know what? You can't do nothing about it. Because we gonna continue to do it until you do something about it, and you can't do nothing about it, so you gotta go through with it. And you know what? You still gonna get up and buy my album, you gonna buy my tickets, you gonna buy my clothes, you gonna love my music, you gonna watch me and SZA all day and night, do everything, all the songs, and you gonna keep loving it. And meanwhile, he gonna be doing interviews laughing about why he lying to us in our face. For a road that he chose. See, we didn't choose his road. That should make you mad almost. Because this is a road he chose, and now he wanna lie to our face about the road he chose to lie to us. The same people he wants to support him. Somebody hear me in here. See, these are buttons that don't really operate the mind until somebody talk about them, until somebody press them. I'm here to operate your mind. I'm here to boil your blood. I'm here to make your blood boil, make you mad, because it's so different when somebody can wake you up and say, that man just said he lied to you yesterday, and he gonna keep lying to you tomorrow, and you ain't gonna do nothing about it. But yet, you come from his hood, you know his mama, his cousin, his brothers, his sister, his kids. How is he not talking about his partners, but yet he talking about me and you, people he don't know? Fam, he talking about all of us. And it's so funny. Because the biggest question was, what can you do about it? I don't even think it matters about Kendrick Lamar. I think Kendrick Lamar has done his part. He's done his role. It's somebody else's turn. And we talking about J. Cole, you talking about Drake, he done already been through whatever he been through and going through more. But we talking about the Grammys he was just at. And see, it's funny when we rapping and we doing music and we talking about, oh man, we the God MC. You know what I'm saying, Chris? When we the God MC, we know all the lyrics. We got all the lyrics. Don't play with us. We know what to do. Shout out to You're Only One Prayer Away 9052 with the $2 donation. K saying K dot sold out. God been exposed it. That's real, family. Shout out to you. I truly appreciate you. Hit that like button, double tap that screen, become a subscriber. We're here to save your life. What I'm saying is, it's so different because as a rapper, we always think we the God MC. Can't nobody mess with us. Can't nobody see me on these bars. I'm the hottest in the game. This is how my bars is. They God-like. Ain't nobody the God MC. Now, that's one thing. When you come off talking like, hey, I'm God for real and I'm Jesus. I'm the Most High. I'm Yahshua. I'm Yahweh. Like, hold up. It's different. Because now you taking on something different. See, it's nice when we talking them bars. When we speaking them bars. When we over here talking about these bars so hard, can't nobody out-rap me, can't nobody beat these bars, these is fire. But see, when you taking them bars and you start thinking you really that guy for real, and now you taking everything as if you are the Redeemer. Because I heard Elohim, and I'm like, oh, he for real. Because, you know, the Lord said what a man think of in his heart, so is he. Hey, listen, let me tell you something. It's powerful what you're thinking, what you're saying. But I'm here to tell you, people like Jay-Z talking about Jehovah. But then you look at the Grammys, and they got at the Grammys, they got the whole Grammy set up as like the Last Supper. And they got DJ Khaled, Lil Wayne, Jay-Z, Rick Ross, and somebody else at the table. So as you seeing how he's saying they mocking and doing this and doing that, it's not the fact because they're saying they the hardest rappers in the world. It's the fact that they really mocking God and they think they really over Jesus. So it's a difference. And everybody start to look at that and be like, oh, Kendrick Lamar? We're not going to stop there. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. Why? We cooking.
Tom Scholar. Never did a quaalude till I got myself around her. My daddy looked the other way. He saw sin in me. I died with syringes pinched in me. Reincarnated. In this verse, Kendrick claims to now be reincarnated in a female artist who, just like the last artist, used the forbidden knowledge to achieve what she wanted. But at the end, sin still destroyed her soul. Kendrick is letting us know that all these artists have been using Lucifer's forbidden knowledge, trying to achieve illumination, trying to become God, but at the end, it still destroyed them and took their soul. The last verse is the most important and brings all of this together. He raps in the last verse, my present life is Kendrick Lamar, a rapper looking at the lyrics to keep you in awe. The only factor I respected was raising the bar. My instincts send material straight to the charts. My father kicked me out the house. I finally forgive him. I'm old enough to understand the way I was living. Ego and pride had me looking at him with resentment. I closed my eyes, hoping I don't come off as contentious. I'm yelling, Father, did I finally get it right? Everything I did was selfless. I spoke freely when the people needed me. I helped them. I didn't gloat, even told them no when the vultures came. Took control of my fleshly blood when the money changed. Son, you do well, but your heart is cold. I can tell residue that lingers from your past creates itself. Father, I'm not perfect. I got urges, but I hold them down. But your pride has to die. Okay, Father, show me how. Tell me every deed that you've done and what you did it for. I kept 100 institutions paid. Okay, tell me more. I put 100 hoods on one stage. Okay, tell me more. I'm trying to push peace in LA, but you love war. No, I don't. Oh, yes, you do. Okay, then tell me the truth. Every individual was only a version of you. How can they forgive when there's no forgiveness in your heart? I can tell you where I'm going. I can tell you who you are. You fell out of heaven because you was anxious, didn't like authority, only searched to be heinous. Isaiah 14 was the only thing that was prevalent. My greatest music director was you. It was colors, it was pinks, it was red, it was blues. It was harmony and motion. I sent you down to earth because you was broken. Rehabilitation, not psychosis. But now we're here now. Centuries you manipulated man with music. Embodied you as a superstar to see how you moving. You came a long way from garnishing evilish views. All I ever wanted from you was love and approval. I learned a lot. No more putting these people in fear. The more that world is diminished, the more it's not real. The more light that I can capture, the more I can feel. I'm using words for inspiration as an idea. So you can promise that you won't take your gifts for granted. I promise that I'll use my gifts to bring understanding. For every man, woman, and child, how much can you vow? I vow my life just to live one in harmony now. You crushed a lot of people, keeping their thoughts in captivity. And I'm ashamed that I ever created that enemy. Then let's rejoice where we're at. I rewrote the devil's story just to take our power back. Carnated. In this verse, Kendrick is talking as himself, the ultimate artist who used the forbidden knowledge without letting it corrupt and destroy him. What he is implying is that he used the forbidden knowledge, and unlike the other artists, it didn't destroy him. He is telling us he is a follower of Lucifer, and he is painting Lucifer as a liberator like the occultists believe. He finally admits that this forbidden knowledge that all these other artists use came from Lucifer. We know this because the rest of the verse plays out as a conversation between God and Lucifer. There's also several hints of this in the verse, as he ends the verse by saying, I rewrote the devil's story. This implies that he used the forbidden knowledge, and instead of leading to death and destruction, he managed to save himself, becoming his own God and earning his own salvation through the knowledge, not being corrupted by using this forbidden knowledge like the other artists before him. Another important part was when he tells us for centuries you manipulated man with music, embodied you as a superstar to see how you're moving. This is again referring to Kendrick using Lucifer's forbidden knowledge to manipulate the masses. Another lyric that indicates Kendrick representing himself as Lucifer was when he rapped, you fell out of heaven because you was anxious, didn't like authority, only searched to be heinous. My greatest music director was you. It was colors, it was pinks, it was reds, it was blue. It was harmony and motion. I sent you down to earth because you was broken. Many people believe that Lucifer was the head of the choir in heaven, and that his most powerful gift was the power of music. Kendrick is playing off of this and implying that Lucifer is the god of music here on earth, the god of the forbidden knowledge, the music that they've used to manipulate the masses. In this verse, Kendrick makes it clear that he is having a conversation with God, and he is representing Lucifer, claiming that Lucifer has reincarnated inside of him. What he means by this is that he used the forbidden knowledge of Lucifer to become his own God, claiming that he finally was able to ascend to a level of illumination instead of the knowledge corrupting him. He's telling us he rewrote the devil's story, and instead of it leading to the fall of man, it led to the rise of man as a god. This song is not only blasphemous, but pushes the same ideologies that all of the music industry pushes. This is why Kendrick compared himself to several other artists. He's telling us that he finally achieved illumination through the forbidden teachings that has made him a god on earth. This is what Kendrick has been showing us for the last few years. That's the reason why he wore the crown of thorns, comparing himself to Jesus. The worst part was when he wore it for his BBC performance. He was seen with fake blood trying to imitate Christ. In that performance, while seemingly mocking Christ, he was standing up for women's body rights, meaning women's rights to abortion, something that wouldn't really be seen as acceptable by Christ or most Christians. In this performance, he was clearly presenting himself as Christ, which for a Christian seems to be disrespectful and seems to fall in line with Hollywood's constant disrespect of Christ. Kendrick also presented himself as Christ in his music video for N95. Throughout the video, he is shown levitating while a child seems to worship him and praise him. Kendrick also shows himself walking on water, also mocking other Christ-like poses in the video. In his video, All of the Stars with SZA, Kendrick again shows himself as a god. This time, he's on a boat being carried by a sea of worshippers as if he were God. Many people defend these actions by claiming Kendrick has a song where he tells people that he's not their savior. So if he knows that, why does he choose to dress up like Christ, who us Christians believe is our savior?
Double tap that button. Double tap it. Double tap. Double tap. Double tap right now.
Want to create engaging promo videos but don't know where to start? Canva's drag and drop function makes it easy to use. plus the new layered timeline to make trimming and syncing clips, music, and more a breeze.
Send her a reminder.
Try it today.
Why pretend to be Christ if you're then telling people you're not their savior? What point is he trying to make? Well, according to what he rapped on Family Ties, he thinks he is a prophet and even claims that he is the Omega and the only way to the Lord is through him, essentially calling himself Jesus. He rapped, "I am the Omega, PG Lang, Rolly Gang, SIE. Don't you address me unless it's with 4 letters. I'm not a trending topic. I'm a prophet. I answer to Metatron and Gabriel, the Elohim, the rebirth. Before you get to the Father, you gotta holla at me first." Now let's break down these lyrics. As you can see in these lyrics, he calls himself the Elohim, which is another name for God, indicating that he's implying that he is God. Kendrick called himself the Omega. That comes from God calling himself the Alpha and the Omega in the book of Revelations. In Revelations 22:13, it states, "I am the Alpha and the Omega, the first and the last, the beginning and the end." So here we have Kendrick calling himself the Omega, again, implying that he is God. He then calls himself a prophet that only answers to Metatron and Gabriel. If you look up Metatron, you find out that he is actually a mythical angel in Jewish mysticism, which is the Kabbalah. The Kabbalah was heavily inspired by Gnosticism, which is what Kendrick routinely shows us he's a part of. Now, the Christian Gnostics believe that they can become Christ-like and transcend the physical body through mystical rituals. Now, in this verse, the most blasphemous thing Kendrick states is that before you get to the Father, you have to talk to him first. This comes from John 14:6. Jesus said unto him, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me." Clearly, Kendrick is claiming that he is Christ and that he is the only way to the Father. So seeing all of this imagery depicting himself as Christ, it's not just imagery. It's connected to what he believes, and he believes he has transcended to a level of Christ. These lyrics are as blasphemous as him wearing the crown of thorns and pretending to be Jesus Christ. This was the second red flag. Let's move on though. The next thing we need to talk about is his SNL performance from back in 2014. During this performance, we can see some extremely questionable imagery come from Kendrick Lamar. I have put this performance in many of my past videos on Kendrick, and I didn't mention the imagery on purpose. I wanted to see how many people were going to mention it without me having to say anything about it. In my last video, only a few people commented that they noticed it. While Kendrick was performing, you can notice that his eyes were pitch black, depicting himself as if he were demonically possessed. Just look at his eyes, and you tell me if he doesn't look like he's demonically possessed. The way he's performing and the faces he's making don't sit right with me and can't be looked at as anything else. Kendrick wanted to look as if he were possessed for this performance. Again, if he's a Christian, why would he perform like this? This presents Kendrick as he was being controlled by demonic forces. If this performance doesn't make you question his choice of imagery, his Super Bowl performance should. This year, Kendrick was the lucky artist chosen to perform at one of the biggest stages in the world, the Super Bowl stage. He did what all of his fans desperately wanted. He managed to annihilate Drake in front of the world. But while most people were focused on the song, they didn't pick up on the occult imagery Kendrick had all over his set. Before they showed Kendrick, they subliminally let us know that all of this was going to be rooted in the spiritual. They depicted this with the Apple portal. After they showed the Caesar Superdome, they then zoom into the Apple symbol, which turns into a portal that leads to the performance. This is extremely important. Now, we all know the story of Adam and Eve from the Bible, the story of the forbidden fruit that represents the forbidden knowledge. While in the Bible, the type of fruit on the tree is never mentioned, the apple has been chosen as a symbol to represent the forbidden fruit, with the image of the bitten apple representing biting the forbidden fruit. I know the Bible doesn't mention it as an apple, but over the years, the apple has been used as a representation of the forbidden fruit. We are shown in the performance the camera zooming into the bitten apple, turning into a portal. This represents the forbidden knowledge, the ritual that was going to be displayed at the event.
I'll tell you something right now. Hit that like button, double tap that screen. We already heard what Kendrick did. We already know about all that Super Bowl. We already know what the level was. We know that he is who he is and the way he is, and we figured out what it is. And at this point, it's another duck. Because we know that we here to inform, understand, and be aware. Because if he talk like it, and if he walk like it, then we know what he is. And it ain't no other way around it. So now, Kendrick Lamar, we can't support you no more, brother. You good riddance off the island. We can't even support you no more. You understand? You can't even do it no more because you want to deceive us and then you want to have interviews about it. Then you want to laugh at us. See, the best part of you was you keeping quiet as you deceive us. But you want to come out, tell people about it, laugh about it, and go right back to making an album deceiving us some more. It was better for you to not even say nothing, brother. It was better for you to just make your deceptive music deceptions and go on about your business. But now that you can put yourself in a position, now we got to be out here telling folk don't support you. Don't go buy your cologne, your music, your houseware, your tickets, your concert, none of that. Even if you're doing it with scissor from the loo, naturally born. You see that beauty in that body. But even in that, within itself, deception all around. Witches, fairies, warlocks, all of this, it's another level that we won't have it. It's a difference. But even in that, at the end of the day, we still need to know what side you on. Do you believe Kendrick really dead? If you don't, you must be out your mind. We understand that we're here to bring light to darkness. And now we done figured out what it is and what it ain't. So again, Kendrick Lamar, we can't support you. Because this level of what you doing, fam, that's different. And we not with none of that. We're thinking about our kids tomorrow, and we're doing it in the right way. But now that we do know, now we know what to do. As always, fam, you know what the level is. There's only one way to do it, and one way to do it only, right here with your boy, Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. With me and my family here at No Filters, man. As always. Truly appreciate you pulling up. Truly appreciate you knowing what we're doing in the manner in which we are doing it in. It's a matter that we do this Monday through Friday, 9 p.m. It matters that you come in. Get you something to eat, something to drink, something to smoke if that's what you do. It matters that you have to understand that at the end of the day, you have to share this with the world. Because at the end of the day, we're here to make sure that we inform, understand, and be aware. As always, truly appreciate you and yours taking your time out, fam, making sure that you're coming in here, seeing the super chat, seeing the cash app, always respecting and always supporting what we're doing as a unit and as a family. As always, fam, you already know your boy Dealatofficial. Truly appreciate, love each and every one of y'all to take time out to tune in with your boy and any liking and every button that you push. Truly never forget to double tap that screen. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Make sure your notifications on all. You hear me? And at the end of the day, share this with the world. And of course, family, when you come in, get comfortable. Get you something to eat. Get you something to drink. Get you something to smoke if that's what you do. Because you know the title, fam. You in here with your boy Dealatofficial, my fam. And this is No Filters. Good night, family. Y'all be safe. Lock your doors. Lock and load. God first. God bless.